215-989-9858. If you want to donate to me, my work, to the shockumentary, it's paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist. paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist. You do not use my PayPal to donate to the school. Do not send school donations to the PayPal. PayPal donations are for Dr. Umar and the shockumentary only. School donations must be check or money order. Okay. Let me go back to the phone lines. Is there another question?
I have a question, Dr.
Yes, Queen. Where are you calling from, sister?
I'm calling from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Terry.
My hometown. Sister
Yes.
Terry. Go right ahead.
Yes, yeah. So I wanted to know, my daughter is, she does have a IUP, and she's under the school district's contract, and they've given her this arrangement with the contract to go to the Woodland School out in King of Prussia.
Okay.
And what I wanted to know is, she has it through 12th grade. She's been here since 6th, and they just can only use the contract as long as we live in the school district. Is there any way that I can move and do anything beforehand to secure another school?
You moving outside of the geographical boundaries of that school district, that shouldn't have anything to do with it as long as you stay in the state. That shouldn't have anything to do with it. No, another school district cannot pick up another school district settlement. Now, that's not going to, it can't be switched over. But you simply that your lawyer negotiated. So you have to read through that settlement agreement and see what it says.
It definitely is in there that we have to reside in the school district for her to get the funding. But I was wondering if there's any kind of, like you said, I was having this IEP and need no services, and she's being allowed to go to school. Will another school district become responsible to allow her to continue and make their own contract for her to continue in that school if I was to move into another school district?
Now, if I'm hearing you correctly, if you move to another school district, does that school district have to allow her to continue to go to that private school at their expense?
Right.
I don't believe so, because they did not make that agreement.
Right.
They did not make that agreement. Yeah. I don't think.
At their mercy again.
Yeah. I don't think that can happen. But also, even if it's not in your settlement agreement with the district, your lawyer can go back to the district and request that change. The district will probably resist it because they don't want to pay any money. You know, they want to kill the contract. Right. You know, but you can have your lawyer go back to the district and make that argument.
Okay, and the other question I was going to ask you, what is your opinion of Woodland, if you have any, if you're familiar with it, which I'm sure you are?
I've heard of it. I may have even been there to evaluate a couple kids when I was with the school district, but I can't. Yeah, I'm familiar with it, but not familiar enough to give you an opinion on it, though.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, well, thank you so much. That was great.
Thanks a lot, Queen. No problem.
All right, have a good day.
All right. I see a question on Instagram. Somebody keeps asking me about the Revolt Summit that they had with Killer Mike and T.I. Shout out to Killer Mike. Shout out to T.I. No, I was not invited to that. I'm not surprised I was not invited to that. And I didn't need to be invited to that. Killer Mike is very intelligent. T.I. is very intelligent. I caught a little clip of it where T.I. was putting Candace Owens in her place. So shout out to T.I. for repping the culture. You know, they did a good job. You know what I'm saying? Killer Mike is very intelligent. Of course, we definitely disagree on some things politically, but at the same time, he's a good brother, a sincere brother. I respect him, and he held it down. And shout out to T.I. He held it down as well. So I didn't need to be there because those brothers did what they were supposed to do. So I'm straight. I don't think I'll probably ever get invited to a Revolt Summit because my message might be a little too strong for that platform. So y'all shouldn't be expecting that anytime soon. I have a very strong, unapologetically African platform that a lot of quote-unquote mainstream and quasi-mainstream media platforms do not want to bring to the larger community. All right. Is there another question on the call today?
Yo, that's Umar.
Yes, sir. Where you calling from, black man?
Indiana, Michigan City, Indiana, man.
Indiana. Go right ahead, beloved.
Man, bro, first off, I just want to say, bro, your words, your thought pattern, bro, that changed my life, bro. Like, man, I've been watching you for so long, bro. Like, I've never met nobody famous. None of that, you know. And for you to change my life and have my homeboys around me looking at me crazy, looking at me weird because I changed my life for the better. You know what I'm saying? I went through that process that's real. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, but besides all that, yes, I know about the vaccination. So I was there at my doctor first, and I told the doctor I wanted her, I forgot what it was when it come out my girl. I told her I wanted to keep that. The doctor took it from me. So months go by, they vaccinate her with like 5 shots in her leg.
Without your permission?
Another month.
Without your permission?
Boom, they hit her with 5. Yeah, like, and I got the papers. I got the papers to say what it is if you want me to do that. You know what I'm saying? I know all vaccinations is bad.
Yeah. That's why I believe that we should start having our babies at birthing centers. I really think that we should start having our babies at birthing centers because they do not force vaccinations as much at the birthing center. So, you know, if I was to have another child, you know, her mother and I would definitely arrange to have birth at a birthing center. That way you don't even have to go through the vaccination arguments at the hospital.
Man, you was just the man, bro. Like, as black people, I see, I was born in, 1993, and then coming to this, if we was supposed to, like, if we was come up and supposed to change our life, you the man to lead us. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like you're not on the main platform. Like, they hating on you, like they know you the real deal.
All right.
They know you the real deal, bro. Like, you the real deal. Spirit about a black man. You know what I'm saying? You got spirit behind that black man, that real deal. Like, so yeah, like, man, it don't even matter because information is power. So I'm watching you through YouTube. I'm watching you through YouTube all the time. Like, I don't even watch cable no more. I'm watching you. Like, your information is just so powerful. Like, I know about your school, all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just an honor to meet you. No dick riding and none of that. Like, but, like, it's an honor to meet you. You know what I'm saying? Because you the real deal. You, like, you realize making history. You going to go down in history. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that.
Omar, before you go, I had a question about the vaccines as well. To piggyback off of him, I wanted to know, my son is 8, he got all the vaccines that you can think of from newborn up to 8. But my daughter, she just got, I forgot what the name of it. She only got one in the hospital and one at the 3-month checkup. But they both go to, my son go to public HISD school. And I'm thinking about putting my daughter in a school district until we decide we want to homeschool or not. But I know that some schools, you know, they don't allow kids to go without vaccines. So how should I go about that?
What state do you live in, Queen?
in Houston, Texas.
You are in Houston, Texas. Let me check something right this second. You are in Texas. So guess what? You are lucky because Texas is one of 18 states that allows a philosophical exemption from vaccination in order for your child to attend public and charter school. So in the state of Texas, you are able to object to a vaccination simply because you don't agree with it. It's called philosophical exemption. So all you have to do is contact the Texas State Department of Education and ask them, how do you exercise your philosophical exemption from vaccinations? I live in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania also has philosophical exemption. Right now, I'm currently in Pontiac, Michigan. The state of Michigan also has philosophical exemption. In fact, the 18 states are Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Arizona, North Dakota, Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Minnesota, Louisiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maine. In most of these states, all you have to do is write a letter, get it notarized, stating that you do not agree with vaccinations, your child will not be receiving them, and you accept full responsibility for the consequences of your decision. And you sign that, get it notarized, you give it to the school secretary, and life goes on. That's how it is in most states. In some states with a philosophical exemption, you have to send your notarized letter to the State Department of Education. And then they, in turn, will send you a certificate that you give to the school. That's why I want you to make a phone call to the State Department of Ed first to see if you just do the letter and give it directly to the school, or do you have to send them something which they will give you a certificate to give to the school. But you're lucky because you're in one of the states where you can do philosophical exemption.
Okay, and one more question for you. Last time I spoke to you, you were coming to Houston, or you were trying. Are you going to try to come back?
Yes. I am working on Houston. Probably, I'm trying to do a Florida tour in Kwanzaa. So Kwanzaa week, I'm gonna probably be in Florida, but New Year's Day is not out the question for Houston. New Year's Day, I'm also looking at Milwaukee for New Year's Day and Oakland, California for New Year's Day. So, but Houston ain't out the question for Kwanzaa, but definitely Black History Month, definitely February.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen. No problem.
Dr. Umar.
Yes, sir. Where you calling from?
Indiana.
Oh, go right ahead.
My daughter's 2 years old and she's not walking yet. But like, if I hold her hand and she's walking, is that normal or like?
She 2 years old. She not walking. Some kid. Well, she should be walking by now. There's a chance that she's just a little delayed with it. She should be walking by now. She's 2. Some kids, they walk a little later. I'm not super concerned, but I am concerned. I would speak to the pediatrician about it. There's a chance that she might need some physical therapy, which you can get through early intervention through the school district. But speak with the pediatrician first and see what they say, because they might want to give her physical therapy through the hospital. So I would speak with the pediatrician about that. No, oh man, I appreciate you, brother. You got my number? Give me a call sometime. We could build. You got my cell?
No, is it this number that they put in the lobby?
Nah, it's 215.
Yeah, let me write this down. 215
989 9858.
Yeah, because I'm battling my girl and the doctors.
What state you live in, good brother? What state you live in?
Indiana.
You live in Indiana? Okay, I was going to see if Indiana doesn't have philosophical exemption. Indiana, you're going to need religious exemption or medical exemption for Indiana. But guess what? You also live in a state with Dr. Laila Africa. You might want to give him a call and speak with him about your daughter's walking issues as well as the immunization issues. let me do this. I want you to take this email. You able to write this email down?
Most definitely.
Okay. His email is LLAIL AA FRIKA at juno.com. JUNO at juno.com. And this is for everyone out there. If you're having medical issues, exemption issues, you want to get an alternative opinion, Dr. Psy.D, rest in peace, is no longer with us. So Dr. Laila Africa is the foremost naturopathic doctor that we have. So if anybody needs to reach him for any medical issue whatsoever, again, his email is his name, Laila Africa at Juno. And Laila Africa is spelled LLAILAAFRIKA Laila Africa at juno.com for anyone who needs any medical, naturopathic, herbs, nutritional advice. Him and his lovely wife, Sister Melanie, who are in Indiana, they would be more than willing to help you. Just send them that email.
And then I got one more question that put me on this path.
Sure.
Is God real? Is God real? That's my only, like, we're tying into the whole religion. Is God real?
Is God real? Yes. God is real, but here's the thing. Hear me out. God is real, okay, but is your conceptual understanding of God real? I want to say this again. God is real, but is your conceptual understanding of the Most High accurate? Is your concept of God real? God is real, but is your God concept real? Let me give you an example. Umar Johnson is real, but your understanding of Umar Johnson may not be accurate. So it's not just, is God real? It's whether or not your interpretation of God is accurate. So, for example, is God a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes? You follow what I'm saying? Is God a angry, jealous, vengeful, condemnatory God? Is that real? Is God sitting on a throne in heaven? Is that real? Is God separate from his creation? Is that real? So, yes, God is real, but your God concept may be false. So, for example, for me, the concept of a God separate from creation is false. The concept of a physical God is false. The concept that, God is white or God is separate from creation, that's false. So, yes, God is real, but is your God concept accurate? That's the real thing. Because if your God concept is inaccurate, then your God does not exist. The concept must be, in other words, the idea in your mind of Umar Johnson must be accurate, or the Umar that you know might not be real, because your concept of the real Umar is distorted. So it's not just enough to believe in God. You must have an accurate God concept. So for me, my God concept, I don't believe in this jealous God, this vengeful God, this God that curses your children when you mess up. I don't ascribe to that. The Judaic Christian Islamic personality of God, I don't agree with that. I do not believe God acts like a white man, because the definition of God as described by the Judaic Christian Islamic creed, God is a white man. He's angry, he's jealous, he's possessive, he's controlling. He has no compassion. Like it's almost like they're describing the slave master. They're describing the colonizer. My God doesn't act like that. You got me? Let me see if there's another call on that line, black man. But make sure you shoot me a text. I gave you my number, right?
Most definitely, I got you.
Okay, stay in touch with me. Shoot me a text, beloved.
So, Dr. Umar, can I ask, what is the concept of your God?
Okay, for me, coming from an African-centered concept, God is the original spiritual source, the creator and the sustainer and the destroyer of all that exists. So God brings into creation, God maintains, and then God destroys. And when we say destroy or cause the death of, that's not negative, because the death of one thing is the birth of another. So when you die of the physical body, you're not remorseful of your death. It's people on the human plane that are remorseful of your death, because you now graduate to a higher level of spiritual consciousness where you are no longer constrained by the physical body. So the end of physical life on earth is not a death. It is a rebirth. You see, so just like when you become 18 years old, your childhood has died. You see, that was the death of childhood, but it is the birth of your adulthood, and then the birth of your elderhood. You see, when you get engaged to get married, on the day you get married, engagement died. Was that a bad thing? No, because the end of the engagement was the birthing of your marriage. So in African culture, death is not evil. Death is not bad, because death is the signaling of a new life. Because in our culture, we believe in cyclical existence. So there is creation, okay? There is the end of creation, but then right after the end of creation is rebirth. So whenever something dies, there is a rebirthing of that same ashe, that same essence, that same spirit on a newer plane. You see, it's like when you get sick, right? Your body, you get sick and you're throwing up and you got to go to the doctors. But if you notice, after your sickness, you tend to come back stronger than you were before, because that sickness forced your body to repair itself in such a way that you're sometimes better after the sickness than you were before. So, you know, we don't believe in this condemnatory, negativistic view of death. Yes, we're going to hurt when people we love die. Yes, we're going, because you have to now give up that part of them that was in you. So yes, there's a separation that can be painful to an extent. But this European thing that death is bad and that death is the end of something, we don't endorse that.
Thank you, Doctor.
No problem, Queen.
Hi, Umar.
Yes, ma'am. Where you calling from?
Thanks, lady, for your Texas.
Go right ahead.
A question for you that I can ask. So me and my husband, well, I know for sure.
Hold that thought. Somebody, I need everybody to mute their phone because I'm getting feedback. Somebody got some feedback. Can you mute your phone, please? Go right ahead, Queen.
Sure thing. So, I'm looking basically for polygamy. Some people use the term sister wife. But my husband's leaving it to me to find, the sister I want, or to add to a woman into our family. We're a young family. But I was wondering, especially being in the state of Texas, one, how do I go about initiating that? And two, legally, I know some states do not allow it. Is there something I should be looking for when it comes to polygamy? I kind of don't want to be, like secretive about it and have to hide whoever we, choose to add into our family.
Okay. Polygamy is illegal in the United States of America. So if you're going to practice plural marriage, you don't want the state involved in your business at all. That can be done by way of a contract between you, your husband, and your co-wife. That's how that would be done. It can be done through the church. It can be done through the mosque. It can be done privately between the three of you. Okay, but you don't want to involve the state in that, because you can't have more than one wife as it relates to the state. So you don't want to involve the state. That arrangement is something that will be done between the three of you in a collaboration with a particular cultural or religious community, if y'all so choose.
Okay, yeah, that's my next question was going to be, okay. So how do you, I know some people initiate differently. I'm not like I know it might be a weird question. I'm not like trying to go on dating sites and all that stuff. I'm not into that. So how would you initiate that to someone?
That would depend. It really would depend on the cultural or religious perspective or foundation that you come from. You know, so for example, in many African cultures that have a matrilineal society, the women would have to come together, and the women would often decide how that's going to go. So once the man approves of the co-wife that you select for him, okay, then you and the wife would decide how y'all going to work out the queendom, and then you would go to your husband, and once you two are on the same page, only then do you go to the mistake that a lot of polygamous marriages make is the man dictates the whole operation. And the problem with that, like in Islam or the Hebrew culture, the man dictates the operation. And as a result of that, if the women don't like the laws that he laid down or the way in which, you know, he created their system, if they don't like it, they're going to tear it apart. They're not going to get along, and it's not going to work. So for me, any polygyny, plural marriage arrangement, relationship must begin with a thorough understanding between the two women, because they're going to make or break it anyway.
Okay. So I guess like my husband's saying, it'll happen naturally. I would run somebody naturally. I'm not into the whole dating site, but, you know, it comes with a little fear for me because I do not want to run somebody that I bring in my home. That, you know, some people think polygamy, think about the sexual aspect of it. They're not thinking about building as a family. And I guess that's the part I'm a little afraid of that I was telling him. But other than that, yeah, definitely. He was telling me that I should initiate it, and we'd go from there, like have the conversation and go from there.
Got you.
So, thank you.
And the other thing too, and I know you said bring someone else in the home, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm of the opinion though that I believe two strong queens need their own queendom. So I plan to have two wives, and I do not plan for them to be under the same roof. I really think a black woman needs her own space. Again,
yeah.
I do know polygamous situations where both women live in the same house. For me, though, I think they need to have space. They need their own space. They could come together and do things together for the legacy that we're building for our children and our posterity. But I do believe that they need their space.
Okay. I'll discuss that with him. Well, thank you so much.
No problem, Queen. No problem. Good luck with you. Is there another question on the line this morning?
I got a question, Omar.
Yes, sir. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from North Carolina.
Okay, you sound a little far away, but I'll try to make it out. Go ahead.
I know you can't know, I text you like 3 weeks ago about a situation with my little brother. My mother got sick, and I had to take him. He had to go to school from New Jersey to North Carolina. You gave me a number to a sister in Montclair. They was helping me out with the special education situation. So when I got him, his paperwork was messed up. So they had him going. Right now he's 15. He'll be 16 in April. So they had him in the 6th grade. The paperwork said he was in 6th grade last year. So I pushed for 9th grade. I got him in 9th grade now. So I wasn't allowed him to go to school, so they put him in 9th grade. And they called me and negotiated with me to get him in 9th grade. But I got an IEP meeting tomorrow. How should I answer that meeting?
Okay. What grade are you in now?
He in 9th now. I got him in 9th.
Okay, he belong in the 9th?
He's supposed to be in the 10th.
Okay.
They put him back 2 years. They put him back 2 times.
Okay, he has an
They
Okay, here's the thing. Let me say this to you. He has an IEP for what? What is his disability classification?
I can't remember on hand.
All right, you got to know that, because if you don't know that, you ain't going to be able to navigate that meeting, beloved. So you got to know the disability. Is it a reading disability, math disability? Is it autism? Is it emotionally disturbed? Is it ADHD? Is it intellectual disability? You got to know the disability. Find out what that is. You got to know that so you know what you're doing in that meeting. But let me say this to you. Special ed is grade appropriate, meaning that your brother can go to the 11th. He can go to the 10th grade. You can have the IEP team put him in the 10th grade because special ed is grade appropriate, right? However, my question for you is, do you think that's in his best interest? I don't want your brother being pushed through school just so he's in the right grade, but he can't read or count. So does he need to stay in the 9th? Because if he needs another year of 9th, give him another year of 9th. I'd rather he spend a second year in 9th grade than end up graduating with a diploma that don't mean nothing because he's not functional. So I'm not saying don't put him in the 10th. I'm saying make a good decision based on what you know your brother can and can't do.
That question, I just got him. So, like, I've been trying to take him from my mother. My mother's kind of lazy. She really don't push him really. I had him for a month already, and I already broke a lot of his bad habits already within this first month. So, what I say in the first month, there's really nothing wrong with him. It's just that he's just lazy.
Well, let me say this. Since you just got him, if it were me, if I just got custody of my brother, he's in the 9th grade, should be in the 10th, he got an IEP. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to request a new evaluation. I'm going to request that the school psychologist for the school reevaluate my brother so I can see what his real levels are. I want to see my brother's reading level, math level, writing level, IQ scores. You need some fresh data, my brother. So I would go to the IEP meeting and request a current evaluation so I can know exactly what my brother can and can't do so I can intelligently make decisions about his education. That's what I would do if I were you. Because you might get him evaluated and find out he on grade level for everything. If your brother on grade level for everything, he should be in 10th grade. And what if he's above grade level for everything? You might end up advocating that he get put up to 11th grade. So for me, I would start with a fresh evaluation because the evaluation might even show you he don't even need special ed at all. You might be like, why he got an IEP in the first place? So for me, you know, you're just now taking care of him, and I commend you for that, brother. I commend you to take on that responsibility. Go to the meeting and request an eval and tell them I cannot intelligently advocate for my brother unless I know exactly what his levels are. I'm requesting an evaluation.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem, brother. Good luck on that. Is there another question on the call this morning? Any more questions going once? Yes, sir. Where you calling from, brother?
What's going on, man? Calling from Chicago.
Chicago, Chi-Town in the building. I will be back in Chicago February Black History Month. Go right ahead, beloved.
Man, I saw you this past February, man, at the Cultural Center on 47th and King Drive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, appreciate you coming through, man. Always supporting. Always appreciate the love, man. So my question is somewhat different from some of the callers. I've been listening for about 30 minutes now. But so my question is I have a daughter who has been going to predominantly black schools her entire life. She just now entered into the 9th grade. And I moved out of a mostly black neighborhood to try to escape the violence. And so we're in a predominantly white neighborhood. Unfortunately, it's more white people than I would be. But be that as it may, I tried to get her. I'm sorry about that. So during the day, the situation is
tried to get my daughter into a school called Lindblom here in Chicago. It's a selective enrollment school now, just like a few other schools are. Her brother goes, and she did not get in. So, long story short, she's going to the fifth of the school here in Oak Lawn, which is Oak Lawn Community High School, predominantly white school, white and Hispanic, and I believe she's a big up of the shot. She is performing well. She has straight A's right now. She's a freshman. She has straight A's on her little skyward kind of. You know, you can check in and see her scores and stuff. So she got the age right now. She's running track, but everybody's white. You know, most of so many. She has maybe one or two black friends. And I guess, man, I just wanted some advice on how to properly help her deal with this. I'm actually even considering transferring her at the end of her freshman year, and she still wants to transfer. I'm asking her how she likes it. It's okay. So, I mean, this is. The interesting thing is my daughter's never performed this well to start out in school. Like, she hasn't been a straight A's, and she's always been an A-B student, you know, and so she hasn't really been a straight A student probably since, like, fifth grade. It's always been A's and B's. So my dilemma is she's performing really well, but I'm more concerned about the culture shock of her not necessarily being around her kind all the time. And, you know, it's not something I'm really proud of in that sense, man, but it was the best school based on the school she had to choose from, thinking that she didn't get accepted into the selective enrollment school that her brother goes to. So,
okay. You know, what grade is she in? What grade is she in? Okay. Okay, I don't feel too bad about her being an older student at the white school. Of course, I don't want our kids to go to white schools at all, but I feel better that she's older. If she was younger, I'd say you got to get her out there yesterday. What you want to do is you want to balance off that European indoctrination with exposure to her own culture. So the way you do that is either in the afternoon or in the weekends. You have to put her into some programming, structured activity with black children. So whether that's, you know, a mentorship program, whether that's robotics, chess club, black history club, whatever it is, you have to find something in the community that keeps her interest, that surrounds her with young folks who look like her in a positive way. That's all you have to do is balance it out. You know, so you're in Chicago, and there's a lot going on in Chicago. So you shouldn't have a problem with all the different cultural organizations and churches that are in Chicago. You shouldn't have a problem finding several programs that she could be a part of for her age that will expose her to not only a black peer group, but also some black consciousness.
Okay. I appreciate that. She definitely, like, she did after school matters this summer. That was all black, so we went back into the city for that. So she has friends she still interact with on the weekends. They may have a birthday or something. So I'm in line with what you're saying. I definitely try to let her still try to have that outlet to be with her actual friends from 8th grade that are all black. And so, you know, but yeah, I appreciate those extra ideas of finding more, just as much as I can, to keep her, you know, I don't expect her to turn white or act white, but that's right. Not her personality at all. She's definitely, she's uncomfortable. I see her uncomfortable. Like, I can see that she's uncomfortable, so I know it's definitely a concern, man. I just wanted to ask that.
Yeah, and if you have any challenges finding any programs, shoot me a text, because I know a lot of folk in Chicago. I can ask around for you in the conscious community.
For sure. I will do that. 115-989.
Yes.
985.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, you got it. Cool. Thanks a lot, bro.
No problem, brother. No problem. Is there another question on the call this morning? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Go right ahead, Queen. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm calling because, first of all, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you do. This is my first time on a call, and I'm just blown away by the information that you're providing.
Thank you.
I wish to God that I had known about you and the work that you were doing when my children were still in school. Because now I'm seeing the fallout of not knowing, and not knowing the questions to ask, not knowing who to turn to have different things resolved for my children. Because now my adult children, from the ages of 20 to 25, they are experiencing what are labeled as mental health issues and substance abuse and things of that nature. But I know that some of it has to do with not getting the proper support and guidance and things of that nature while they were in school. So my question is, maybe you've all done it already previously, but do you have or are you planning to offer a call like this for parents of adult children who are experiencing mental health issues, and how we can navigate the system as their advocates? So I'm just really hopeful that if you have not done that, if you are willing to branch out in that area, you may feel like it's outside of your preview of things that you're can do. But from what I'm hearing, I think you're the right person to ask. I myself, I'm a certified peer specialist, which means that I have and I've chosen to use my own mental health experiences to help others. And I'm attempting to help my children, but I'm learning as I go and how to navigate the systems that are out to support them. So
that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I'm gonna think on that, Queen. I'm gonna think on that, and if you want to help me put something together like that, just shoot me a text message. Maybe we could work on it together.
Please repeat your text number. I did not get it.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, thank you.
You ready for it?
I am.
215-989-9858.
Thank you so much, Dr. Umar, for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Blessings to you, the listeners, and have a great day. I'm on my way to work.
All right, sister. Enjoy your day.
Okay, you also.
All right. Is there another question on the call this morning?
Yo, Brother Umar.
Yes, sir. Where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from
Houston, Texas. Go right ahead. H-Town.
H-Town. Yes, sir. I just had a quick question, because I know you had spoken a little bit about the black vote summit. I was going to ask you a particular question on Brother Jay Morrison.
Yes.
What was your stance on what he was saying about, well, I don't know if you've seen the clip or not, about black Americans need to go, genocide around nationality and acknowledge our heritage and our culture. I mean, that's what his point about us giving reparations. I was just asking how you feel about that point, and do you think we do need to acknowledge around the nationality and find out who we are? Because, everybody from around the diaspora, we are the lost tribe, and cultureless people, the lost tribe. So do you think we do need to do that?
I didn't see the clip, but I respect the brother and his work. As far as the concept of nationality, for me, it would depend from what angle are people approaching it. If we're approaching it from the Moorish angle, shout out to my Moorish brothers and sisters out there. Obviously, there's some disagreement between the Garvey camp and the Moorish camp on that. I don't think you have to call yourself indigenous or sovereign or a Moor in order to be respected. Nations are born every day. All you have to do is come together as a people and declare yourself an independent nation. You don't have to call yourself a Moor or anything like that. We just simply have to declare ourselves as an independent nation. We also have to declare that we are not citizens of the United States, that we do not accept that label, that we are prisoners of war, or whatever we want to call ourselves. So if we're coming from that angle, I'm okay with it. But if we're coming from an angle that we have to be sovereign and indigenous and we got to call ourselves Moors and practice Islam, I reject that. I don't agree with that at all. I'm not part of any lost tribe. I'm an African. I know where I come from. I'm not lost at all. And one of the reasons why we're going to be meeting at the Embassy of Ghana on Tuesday, October the 7th at 11 a.m. and again at the African Union headquarters in Washington, D.C., Saturday, October the 12th, is because we want to build a Black Wall Street repatriation community in Africa for those of us who know we are African and recognize the political time of day that we live in that suggests that it's almost time for us who are African, unapologetically so, to go on home. So I already have my plan. I already have my program protocol in action. And I'm moving on it now. You know, it's been 400 years, and it's time for me to finish the works of the most honorable Marcus Garvey and all the other pan-Africanists who came before me. They're depending on me to finish this. So I'm not a part of any lost tribe. I know exactly where I come from. I'm not interested in no nationality that is asking me to identify with America, because I am not an American. I am an African.
Right, yes. Well, the only reason I say about the lost tribe because, you know, we African American, that was a name given to us by Jesse Jackson, or we black, or we token. I know if the colonizers, they erased everything, you know, so just like, you know, I've been listening to you, they erased everything, so that's why, you know, I feel, you know, I took on where a lot of people say we're the lost tribe. I understood it to a bit, but I understand what you're saying, that you know where you come from. And one more question, you was like, we don't have to go by indigenous, but I thought the globe was ours. All around the whole globe, we are, you know.
The globe is ours. The globe is ours.
So I'm just.
So
why would we all be from one really damn man? Because there's so many of us.
Okay.
Like we are around the globe.
We are around the globe.
From one last minute.
And the reason.
For so many long years.
Yes, sir.
So this whole one land mass is ours.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
And give these Europeans this, and people this, and our people the one. We just know we are, like, I don't understand.
Okay. Let me respond if I can. The globe is ours, my brother. We are the oldest people in the world. We were on this planet by ourselves for tens of thousands of years before any other race evolved from us. So yes, as the oldest people, we circumnavigated the globe before any other race evolved. So yes, we were everywhere. We settled it. We built it. We did everything. Yes, we are the original people of the planet. But everything has an origin. Everything has an origin. And the origin of African people, whether you in America, South America, Europe, Africa, the South Pacific, the Caribbean, the origin of all African people is Africa. So I have no problem with a narrative that says we belong to the world or that the world is ours. I agree that the Creator gave us the whole world. However, the cradle of your civilization, the holy ground, the sacred territory, the government of the race is Africa. So my issue is with folks who want to prioritize where we went as opposed to where we are from. I do not prioritize where we went over where we are from. I do not prioritize where we are over where we are from, because only a fool